Okay, it's working. Welcome back to the Ode Chronicles. For those watching for the first time, I'm Libby, your moderator for the evening, and thank you guys for joining me again. The Ode Chronicles began last year in 2020, and since then I've had the pleasure of chatting with a handful of runners who've participated in the Ode to Laz, Golden Ticket, Backyard Style Ultra Marathon here in Michigan. For some, running our summer Golden Ticket race is enough, but others crave that challenge all year long. So to satisfy our friends and give our summer runners a fun and punishing preview of the course, the 8 Hours of Ode, which I refer to as Ode to the Snow, and the 12 Hours of Ode are two of our other events that you can attend. Tonight, I am joined by some amazing athletes whose idea of fun is running far. But for this group, though, it's a little bit different. It goes a bit beyond going far. These guys like to get there fast and on the snow and ice, no less. So I would like to welcome Rebecca, Andrew, Jeremy, Justin, and Christina to the Ode Chronicles. Everyone's on here with me tonight. Thank you for taking the time to meet with me. And it's just amazing to have you guys here. So you guys are here tonight because you have been record setters and record breakers for our 8 Hours of Ode in the Snow. And the cool thing about the winter event is that you can run it backyard style or you can run it as a continuous. So each of you are here kind of representing a different, each of those, genres that you can run. So everyone knows who you are. I would like if you could each kind of introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about you, how you got into running and how you heard about the Ode to the Laz. And how about we start with Christina?
Oh, okay. I'm Christina. I know Andrew and I met Jeremy at Ode, and I don't know hardly any of you else, of you other people. Just I know that you're fast. But I'm 46. I have 6 children, 5 grown children, 2 grandbabies, and then I have a little guy who's 6. And I've been running since 2006, but in 2015, I really started running for mental health and found that you tend to go long when you do that. And I live right in Grand Blanc. Holly Rec is actually 15 minutes from me. I started going there every chance I could, basically. So Holly's kind of in my backyard. It's my second home. I call it all the time. And it's really just where I go, to talk to myself, clear my head. And I love it. I don't see myself ever giving it up.
Yeah. Awesome. How did you hear about the Ode to Laz?
I mean, I've done Barkley Fall Classic. I think it just kind of felt, you just hear about these things. And I actually didn't do it last year. Not last year, 2019, I guess.
Okay.
I did not do any events. I just was real focused on Barkley and some other events that I had going on. So, but then, the summer hit in July. Well, COVID hit, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
And I knew Tad, and I knew that he was going to put together an event. Basically trail running was the only thing going on. And I went all in. I was not stopping. But Facebook, friends, I run with the Complete Runner group. So, they were a sponsor too. So it's probably just a combination of all of that.
Okay. Awesome. And how about you, Justin?
Hey, I'm Justin Schott, and here in Ann Arbor with my partner and 6-year-old stepdaughter. I'm a native New Yorker and also spent a lot of time out west in the mountains of Colorado and the Northwest. So it's been a little bit of an adjustment, finding ways to stay sane in Michigan, but I've always loved being out on trails and was pretty much, just a mid-packer or slower than that as a high school runner and then into my 20s, and had friends that were running ultras and seemed to be having a blast. And I remember when I couldn't fathom running more than a half marathon. And then, I don't know, it was like something clicked and I did the North Country Trail Marathon and then Dances with Dirt, 50K and 50 miler. And from there it was like, okay, what's next? And had my first DNF at first and only Cascade Crest out in Washington in the 100-mile race. And that was good and humbling. But since then I've been, just loving to get time on trails and especially in mountains, and always kind of seeing what's next in the ultra scene. And tried to get into Barkley one year, and that didn't happen, not surprisingly. Not sure if I actually got a proper application in or not.
Right.
Maybe other people have thoughts on that. But once I heard about the backyard style, I was totally intrigued and wowed by what people were putting down. And so I've run one properly in Ohio. I'm actually forgetting the name of that one. But I did that May, I think, 2019.
Okay.
And was on the short side before leaving for vacation to go backpacking in Zion a couple days later. And then was a volunteer at the Ode to Laz, I think summer 2019, and had a couple friends there, and was working the evening shift, which was great, and got to do one lap on the trail. But I'm totally a winter person. I've taught winter camping classes. It's maybe my favorite season to be out on the trails. And it's also really hard to find a race then. So I was just super excited to see it come up as an option. And that was my last race before COVID. So I continue to remember it fondly until my racing days are back.
All right, Jeremy, how about you?
Hello, good evening, everybody. So I'm Jeremy Dernot. So we've been running since about 2012. I was running also before on and off, but I really started to run in 2012 when I first got in the US. I moved from France to California, spent 5 years there. And I was always, leaning towards running, especially in the trails, just because, it's quite quiet, no cars, and the nature in California is like really beautiful. So I really liked spending times over there, and starting to train more and more, realized that, there are actually races happening on trails. And so I started my way up, really from a 5K, 10K, half marathon, and then realized, oh, wow, people actually go run even longer distances. So the furthest I went was a 50K before running the Ode to Laz, so a month ago. So I was pretty happy to get my longest distance run ever, which was about 40 miles.
Wow,
Was pretty happy about that. So that's a new record for me. And the way actually we found, because I signed up with my girlfriend who ran the race also on Sunday.
Okay.
She got me into another race in South Carolina that we will be running in March. So I was like, oh, okay, probably need to have some training before going there. So we look into ultra sign up, of course, and what's happening? And we saw the Ode to Laz and we signed up. That's how we got in.
Okay, perfect. I'm not sure if that was good training for North Carolina, but
I don't know.
anything is good, right? As long as you're on your feet.
Anything is good.
Oh, Rebecca, how about you?
Hi, I'm Rebecca. I'm from Whitmore Lake, Michigan here. I have a 10-year-old daughter, lived here my whole life. I first ran on the trails back in high school, just running for fun. I did the Roads End 5-miler at the trail weekends way back when. And then I didn't run again until like a decade later. I had my daughter, she went back to school, and I said, I don't know what to do with myself. So I kind of got back into running just on the roads and everything. And then I'm not sure how I chanced upon it, but I found a race report for the Wasatch 100 and was hooked ever since. That just sounds like the most amazing thing. So I found the trails that I'd raced on years before and just got back into running. Started back again at the trail weekend at the Pinckney Recreation Area, did the 50K there. Moved up to the Run Woodstock events and did the 100K, 100-mile there. And now the rest is history. I decided I wanted to move up to the 200-mile distance. And so I went out to the Potawatomi Trails 200 in 2019, and I DNF'd there. So I was like, okay, I can't let that stand. I have to come back. So I was training all winter 2019 to 2020, and I wanted to get in a a long supported race. So that's how I found the Ode to the Snow.
Okay.
So I was, of course, the 200 got canceled last year, but I'm training again for it this year, so that's why I came back.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Good luck.
Thanks.
How far did you get on that first attempt?
120 miles.
Wow. Okay. Awesome. You can do it. All right, Andrew, we've seen you before, but tell us, we've seen you before as Sarah Moore's husband, so we haven't seen Andrew Moore, the runner.
I'm just a crew.
I was surprised you can run, so
Thanks, Libby.
Tell us about how you got into running.
So,
And, I expect we know how you heard about the Ode, but
yes, of
a little
course.
bit of your background.
So I've always run. Growing up in Wales, I was surrounded by mountains, and we'd always go on these little hikes and everything else. But I didn't actually realize, how blessed I was at the time in these, Wales is just these rolling green fields that are all runnable, really nice game that I never used, quite frankly. So I came to the US, in 2006, 2007, and I met Sarah, and we did our first 10 mile. 10 mile was the first I'd ever run. We did the Crim together. We lovingly joke that she fell for me because I actually tripped around the first corner. That's when she, she first fell for me, literally. And from then, we progressed. We did our North Country was the first 50 miler that we ever did together. We did it in 12 and a half hours. We struggled through it, completed it. And then we did our first 100 miler in the UK in 2016. It was it's called the Thames Path 100. It's from London to Oxford. It's along the River Thames. You go past Windsor Castle, Hampton Court Palace. It's a beautiful run. It's pretty flat, not much game, and we ran that together. It was 27 hours. It was a total slog fest, and from then we've just gone from race to race. And now I look back to Wales and what I grew up in, and I'm like, what were you thinking? This is the most amazing trail running you would ever imagine, and you never used it. So, I'm trying to, find that again, and then, trying to get back there and run it again. But, pretty much we just love to be out on the trails all day long, finding the next race and pushing ourselves further and further. Generally, I'm the crew because she's better than me, but I will attend the odd race myself.
Yeah, I noticed she was shirking her crewing duties on Saturday. She was just busy taking pictures and having fun.
I don't know. I don't know if I would say that.
Right. Oh, well, thanks for letting us get to know you guys a little bit. And we always like to know who shows up to these things, you know? For me, it was, I can't even remember. I think a friend of mine sent me the description of the Ode de Laz, the first race in 2019, and I was like, that sounds terrible. I was like, we probably should sign up for that. Like, just go see what it's about. It sounds horrible. But in reality, it's actually kind of fun. It's like that type 2 fun, you know? So I have a question for everyone here. So if you all want to chime in. So I'm curious to know if any of you guys had done any recon on the trail prior to running a snow event. Were you out there, you know, a couple weeks before? Did you just show up and be like, well, we'll see what the conditions are? What was your strategy for that?
I just showed up first year, 2020. I didn't know what it was going to be like. I've never been out to the Holly State Park.
Okay.
Same here.
Okay.
Yeah, no recon.
They've done
I got a
one
lot of
lap
recon.
in the summer,
Justin did one.
a summer lap, which
A
was
summer lap.
helpful.
Okay. And then Christina, were you out there in the snow then before the race?
Yes.
Okay.
I think I had a lot of miles without snow.
Okay.
So the snow, get a little bit of snow. So
Okay.
I had been out there, but we didn't have any ice when we had that snow. So
Gotcha.
that really changed things.
Yes. Yeah. Andrew.
Yeah, it was super icy for sure. And I would say I have an unfair advantage because I had done it the previous year. And the way Tad had set it up the previous year, he always said there were several ways you could win the race. You know, there were the fastest average laps, the furthest you could go with non-stop, and then the fastest last lap.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd seen Mike Fisher, you know, blow it out the park on the last lap the previous year. I didn't realize it was race. They all went off. I'm like, I wasn't really trying to prove anything at that point. I guess this goes back to the whole, you know, it's a long story. Seeing the way Sarah's progressed and the way she has pushed herself with, you know, Ode, with Bigs, then Desert Solstice, and seeing what, and you know, Brazos Bend, all of these races that she's done and how she's just got faster and faster. I've had it in my mind that, you know, what can I do? You know, well, how fast can I push these things? You know, how fast can I push myself? So when it came to the Ode, I mean, I've obviously done this loop before. It was very icy, and I was totally sandbagging the whole race with Gary Lawson. We were just, you know, I was actually thinking, Sarah's in the back of my mind saying, you hit the turnaround mile at, you know, minute 16, 17. You hit this time at this time. So I was really trying to pace myself to feel what is a backyard? When do you want to come in? How do you pace yourself? So really trying to be methodical about the whole thing. I was actually taking Gary through, because I'm going to be crewing in July for sure, because I'm not, you know, the backyard, I'm chief crew for Sarah. So, you know, that's my job. You know, she's better at it than I am. So I was trying to train Gary for it, saying, you know, this is how you should run this. And this is what you should be looking for. And even then I was going too fast. So I needed to slow down a little bit. But on the last lap, I always told him, like, on the last lap, it's all out. You know, we're going to go as fast as we can. We've got to beat Matt Antoneau. He's so annoying. So let's get him. Yeah, you know, let's see what we can do. And so so that was the whole game plan. And it came to that, and I thought I had Mike Fisher in the back of my mind. He's always beat me at everything so fast. But I know the previous year he said that he hadn't pushed as hard as he could have because there was no one anywhere near him. So I thought, oh, maybe I can take his record this time. So
I was wondering. So I ran, you know, with you on Saturday, and I knew you guys were talking about running all out on that last lap. I mean, there was no way I was going to be doing that. But when you were going, I figured you were going for that fastest lap record. So
I didn't realize that was not a thing this year. So
I think it's fun. Did you win anything?
not officially, no, but you know what? I'm not looking for a free entry anyway, so it's not
I'm not gonna give you. We're gonna have to talk to Tad about that.
he sends me a lot of hats, so I'm good.
And you know, so we'll keep on this here, Andrew, because I had some questions for you about it. And so I just wanted to tell everybody, so what Andrew actually did, Mike Fisher, who unfortunately missed our call this evening, he had set the fastest lap record in 2020, right? The Ode to the Snow for 2020. And what he ended up doing, so let me see. He ran, let me go back. I'm looking for my stats here. So I'm looking for my numbers. Hang on. They're around here somewhere. So Fish ran, his fastest lap was 36 minutes and 54 seconds. And Andrew, what you ended up doing was 35 minutes, 48 seconds. So you were really close. Did you know what his number was? Were you keeping track of your time?
No, I didn't think I was going to be able to beat his time. I just went as all out. The only place I didn't run that loop was on the Stairway to Heaven because I thought I needed to conserve a little bit of energy. The rest of it, I ran as fast as I could without falling. Actually, I planned my route as we were coming around the backside because it's super slippery. I was just going straight through the trees at some point. I was avoiding the trail because it was so icy.
Yes.
So I knew he was quick. I had no idea if I could beat him or not. But again, even if I did beat him, I think if he was out there, he probably still would have beaten me because he's really quick if he wants to be.
He'd have raced you for sure.
Yeah, he would have. It would have been. I still think he would have won, but he wasn't there. So what can you do?
Right. So we're speaking of the conditions. Let's just talk comparing last year's with this year's. For those of you who actually have run both of them, was there a big difference between the 2 years? Tad thought this year was a faster course. And I mean, I didn't run the first Ode to the Snow, so I don't know, but what do you guys think?
There was no way it was a faster course.
Okay.
Running both years, there were some areas that were so icy. I mean, even with, I put Matt and Snail would, show me how to put screws in the bottom of my shoes. Even with that, it was slippery.
Yeah. Did anybody run with like yak tracks or nano spikes?
I put spikes on for the back half of the loop. So yeah, I agree. I don't think this year was particularly faster. I ran on Sunday, and like the front half of the course, like around like just after the parking lot, was like all mud and slush, and was slippery. And like the out and back section was actually really runnable, but then you come around the back half of the lake, and yeah, that was still all icy. So I put some spikes in for that portion just because, yeah, I actually had fallen in that spot in 2020, and I didn't want to again.
Okay.
I liked 2020 better.
Okay. Anybody else run with cleats or anything, or did you guys just run with your regular trail shoes?
I had screws in my shoes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jeremy, how about you?
I had screws too, a few, like 4 or 5 screws in the shoes, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Justin, what about you?
Yeah, we just had good snow cover in 2020. It wasn't really icy then.
So you were just able to wear your regular trail shoes then?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. It makes a big difference. Sarah had loaned me on Saturday. She had loaned me her shoes with screws in them because I had nano spikes, and I ran, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 laps with those nano spikes on. Man, my feet were killing me. I don't know if anybody else has that issue with running in them for a long time.
The nano spikes?
In nano spikes, yeah. I mean, they're real flexible. You wouldn't think that it would make a big difference in your footfall, but I don't know. It's just the bottom of my feet were killing me. When I switched over, I was fine.
I think they do. That's why I don't use them. If
Yeah.
you're going long, if you're just doing like 8 or 10 miles,
Right.
I think it's okay. They work well. But if you're going long, it's just, I think you change your gait,
Yes.
or they squeeze your foot or something. I don't know. I don't like it either.
Since then, I've put screws in a pair of shoes, so, and that works better.
This was the longest I've ever run with screws in my shoes. So that was, then they was fine.
Did it work? It was good for you, Christina?
What?
It worked well for you, the screws?
Yes. I'll do that again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, for you guys, like Justin, you said you've only ever run the Ode to the Snow. You haven't run the other events?
Yeah, I did 1 lap just to check it out when I was volunteering in the summer.
Okay. So was the trail conditions in the snow kind of what you were expecting? You said you do a lot of activities in the winter and trail stuff.
Yeah, I remember running, other trails at that time on snow and thinking this was a good weekend, that it was going to stay cold.
Okay.
Yeah, I was pretty pleased by it, and there was like enough soft snow to make the downhills fun and low impact, so that was a good thing.
Good. Okay. So I wanted to talk. We'll stick on you, Justin, here, because you actually hold the record for the fastest overall cumulative time backyard style. So when you ran last year, you had a lap average of 42 minutes and 33 seconds. And that was a full minute and a half faster than anyone else that was out there running. So to give everyone listening a little bit of perspective, it's an 8-hour event. So you're running on the hour, every hour, backyard style, if you're running backyard style. So you would think total time on your feet would be around 8 hours. So Justin's total time on his feet was about 5 hours and 40 minutes for the 8-hour event. So, I mean, you were very consistent. And each lap you ran, you got faster. So was that a strategy of yours, or did that just kind of happen? Were you like, I want to get this horrible race over with and I'll just keep going faster and faster? What were you thinking?
So honestly, I came in and I don't think I had run more than 15 miles in a few months. And so I was kind of like, let's get out and see what a couple laps feels like. And, hopefully I'll do 8. And then I realized after the first one, okay, this is going to be a good day and I can kind of see where things go. And there was a guy who was winning the laps, I don't know, 2 through 4, something like that. And I just sort of figured that he was going to get it. And I remember, getting closer to him on the out and backs and thinking, well, maybe I'll win 1 lap. That was my goal. And then, from there, I think I got the competitive bug. So no, it definitely wasn't the plan to do that. Although it was cool once I realized, like, wow, I haven't had negative splits in any race, I don't think. So that was fun. And I think there's like a certain joy in getting to know exactly where you'll push on the lap and getting more and more proficient with each round. And, it's kind of like getting to use that muscle as you're gaining like little bits of wisdom with each lap and having a sense for exactly how you should be coming into, some hill or some turn. I just found that really satisfying and was just trying to enjoy it.
Yeah. Did everybody kind of have an area of the course where they felt like they could kind of open it up and move a little bit faster?
Yeah, on the back for sure. You could really open it up,
Right.
Because everything is runnable there.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's where you guys picked up your speed a little bit.
Well, the wilderness trail, I always say, is a runnable part. You have to run the runnable parts in Ode, right? So
Yeah.
if you don't, that's where you lose time. If you, for some reason, don't do that. So that part was super runnable. I think the snow stayed on it the whole day.
Yeah.
The stairs were fine. It was just all those where you had to really pace yourself, going around the lake.
Yeah.
It seemed, for us on Sunday, it seemed like every hour it was a little different.
Yeah, it definitely, the conditions changed as time went by. And then, I mean, you guys it was actively snowing on Sunday for you for quite a bit of it, I think.
Yeah.
Saturday, we didn't have any active precipitation, but the trail just kept getting more compact and slicker the more we ran in circles. So yeah, each lap did feel a little bit different there. Did you, Rebecca and Jeremy, when you guys run, were you guys doing, walking some of the sections, walking up? Did you have a strategy for your loops? Kind of like how a lot of other people will walk the ups and try to run the flats as much as you can.
So I was using the race this year and last year as basically just long supported training runs for the 200. So I was working on my multi-day pace.
Okay.
Practicing the power hiking the uphills, the stairs, and then practicing the ultra shuffle. So there's plenty of slow times in there.
Yeah. Okay. Jeremy, how about you?
No, I didn't really have any plan. I just went by feel. But, after, some time, that stair climb, it's not possible to run it anymore. So I was definitely walking the stairs up. But other than that, I was trying to jog the rest of the course and to be careful at some turns where it was on an incline and very slippery towards the lake. So I was slowing down also at those places. Yeah.
You did the 33-minute lap, right, Jeremy? Is that right?
No, I did not do 33 minutes lap.
Someone did a 33-hour lap, right? 33-minute lap.
Well, you mean just as one of the laps? Not
Yeah.
Okay. I think it was Matt Antoneau did one of our fastest. I think he did.
Not Matt. No, there was a guy on Sunday.
Oh, on Sunday. That I don't know. Guy on Sunday, if you're watching this, come forward. Please tell us about your 33-minute lap.
It was the first or second lap. They did a 33.
Okay.
Blazing fast.
Nice. Yeah. That's crazy.
Anyway, sidebar there. I thought it was Jeremy.
No, that's all right. Yeah, if you're that man, please come forward at some point. Email me.
I think the fastest lap was in the 40 minutes, something like that. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tad. So Tad doesn't count. He only counts it if it's what did he say? 7 laps or more when you start getting fast for the award. So I think that's why, Andrew, why you and Mike Fisher ended up being those record holders and breakers because you both did it on the 8th lap.
Oh, I see.
So it's not cool enough if you just do it on your first lap. You only get an award if you've done it on tired legs.
I'll take it.
I don't know. So I just want everyone to know, so Rebecca, Jeremy, and Christina, you guys ran continuous style versus backyard style. Am I correct in saying that?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. So what made you choose to run it continuous instead of backyard?
Can I add to that also?
Yeah.
Would you do continuous again?
Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I run continuous because I don't want to stop and get cold. Well, yeah, just keep going.
Okay.
I chose continuous because I wanted to see how many miles I could get. I I trained for 50 miles. Out on the course. Brian, my boyfriend, we had it really broke down, and this is where you need to be, and I was ahead of schedule. I really knew I was going to get 9, but my stretch was 10. But Jeremy, I chased him the whole day.
Jeremy,
I'm 5 foot tall. Jeremy is tall.
Right.
So him going up those stairs, so I knew I couldn't catch him. So I just needed to stay focused on what I wanted to do.
Okay.
But I was like with Rebecca, I didn't want to get cold either. I really get cold really fast when I stop running.
Yeah.
And then it messes with my head. I know what my legs can do.
That was definitely challenging. And we'll ask Backyard Style guys about that, because I found that challenging too.
Mm-hmm.
And Justin and Andrew, you guys had a little bit more time because you were faster to change your clothes and do stuff like that. And but I was slower, so I really didn't have time to change. So it was just piling on stuff every time I'd come in and trying to like hug my space heater basically for 5 minutes and then get back out. But yeah, so Jeremy, you ended up getting continuous. You got 10 laps, is that right?
I think so.
Yeah, and then Christina, you ended up doing 9 laps.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, and you guys had broken. There were some other people who had set that record the year before, and you guys broke that record. So, yeah, congratulations on that.
Yeah, 10 laps is really impressive. Well done, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Did you know that that the 8 previously for continuous was the max someone had run? Did you want to get? Were you going for the record, or you were just going for your personal best if you could?
I knew that 8 was the record.
Okay.
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 Now for me, I had no clue. So I just went, as I felt.
Yeah.
I actually didn't know that I was going to run continuous until the night before. I was still hesitating. Should I run backyard continuous? And then I thought, okay, so it's about 4 miles. So I was like, I didn't know the course, that it was going to be kind of technical because of the ice and the snow and the steep stairs. If I knew that, I might have actually run backyard.
Yeah, that break is kind of
that would have changed my mind and make my decision easier. But then kind of like a last minute thing, decided, okay, I will go continuous.
So, when you guys ran continuous, did you find that you were taking any break at all, or were you eating and drinking on the go, basically?
Yeah, I was trying to take as little breaks as possible, even to refuel, just grab stuff in the cooler and then eat walking up and try to keep moving. Because what I realized was, I think the backyard, even though you are taking a break, I never run backyard, but I was thinking that, oh my gosh, just stopping, cooling down, and having to warm up again when it's so cold outside like this, it might actually be, again, I've never done it, but might be harder. I don't know if what you people who have run backyard thinks about that, but I'm curious to.
Yeah, I guess. Justin and Andrew, what do you think? Because you guys have both run other events where you run continuous, and then now you've done backyard style. So, is it more challenging, or what do you think?
Go ahead, Justin.
I thought having the breaks was great, both mentally and physically. And that's why I did it, was just knowing I would have a max mileage was kind of more feasible going into the day. And in terms of staying warm, I had a sleeping bag, and I was in that instantly in my tent and eating while I was in the bag until the last bell. So that was my strategy, and it worked. And getting a little bit of cold coming out was a good way to get started for me.
Okay. Yeah. Did you go faster to warm up? Was that kind of the strategy?
There were a few of those, yeah, when I was
Yeah.
like looking forward to to getting moving.
Yeah.
I guess for unfair advantage here, doing this a few times and crewing and knowing how cold it gets. The previous year we were running into the cabins, changing, getting warm. But the key here is that if you are going to do backyard, you have to keep dry. If you're going to go between loops and you're wet and you go out, it's miserable. So we've got a little gas heater that's running constantly. You come into a warm tent, keeps you warm. You're going to change clothes. You're going to get out.
Yeah.
So, and this is the same in all backyards. July, it can get, even though it's the summertime, it can still get cold. You're going to have you need a good crew to keep it warm, keep it comfortable, sit there, refresh, get your food, change clothes, keep dry, and get back out there. So if you don't have that, I would say go with continuous, because you can't stop. You get too cold. If you have a tent, you have a heater, you have change clothes, then it's perfectly doable. There's nothing more refreshing than a fresh set of clothes. You feel like a new person every loop. And then actually at Sarah, when I was crewing her at Biggs, every single time she came in, it became a bit of a joke that she would change clothes. She'd go back out and they're like, "You've got a new set of clothes." She had a new set of clothes, a new pack, and it was all dry and ready to go. So different way of it's a different mindset than a continuous, for sure.
Yeah. Well,
sorry.
No, go ahead, Jeremy.
I wanted to ask, do you do like any stretching or keep your legs moving so that you don't?
Absolutely. So when she was coming in, for instance, I mean, on the 8 hours, it's just a 50K. It's not a big deal, really. You can get back out there. But on Biggs or Ode, I've got the Hypervolt, and she comes in, lays her legs out, and I'm just like drilling her legs, loosening them up. You're not just sitting there being sedentary. You can't do that. You have to be proactive in your leg maintenance and your body and so forth.
Cool. Yeah. This year's Ode to the Snow was a little bit different because of COVID. We couldn't have, individual crew members. So it was more, you had to crew yourself and just grab what you could get. Did anybody find that challenging, having to crew yourself for this?
No, I always crew myself. So, it's not that long of a day. So I just brought my own stuff and.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was fine too.
Okay.
I was in and out real quick. I did stop in between.
Okay.
But kind of like Jeremy said, I would grab something and take it. And I actually gave myself, I need to be running by the time I got to the stairs. And that was I have to be running by now kind of deal, whatever I was trying to fuel with or drink or anything. And I was always, by the time I got to the cabin, was running.
Okay.
Just either to stay warm or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you had to give a piece of advice to people who want to try the Ode to the Snow, as far as preparation or what to bring and stuff like that, what would you guys say is probably the most important thing?
Just practice running in the cold weather. Know how you need to layer. Know what parts of you get cold the fastest, and just practice it.
Yeah.
Screws.
Yeah, screws.
Yeah.
Screws.
Just having, if you can do it, if you have a crew, bring a crew. If you're doing it on your own, I don't know how to do it alone. It's
I think
so
for
cold.
on your own, it's just lots of options. Like I had a whole tent full of food and clothing, and knew that was always there. And not letting stuff slide for another lap.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I actually got warm while I was running. I mean, like I took my hat, my gloves off. I mean, so that is like train for the conditions for sure. I mean, get out and train in the cold. I didn't do any treadmill runs. I actually like the cold. I'm actually in Florida right now, but I know. But it is hot here. There is no snow.
Fair.
But we trained a lot in the cold, you know, and I found I didn't mind the cold. It's the wind that gets you. You know, you have to have the right gear for that.
Yeah.
And what your stomach can tolerate in those conditions too, because it's a lot different than in like July.
Yes. Yeah. I found I ended up wearing like, I mean, this might make people cringe, but I ended up wearing like a rain jacket as a wind blocker. I mean, they don't really sell windbreakers anymore. So that's what I ended up wearing as the laps got later and I started to get chilly. Just because when I was coming in, I didn't have as much time on the last couple laps to change my clothes, to change my shirt. And yeah, like you said, you get hot while you're running. So, you know, definitely layer up and bring some changes if you can. And if you can't, make sure you have something to break the wind, because you don't want to end up being hypothermic because you're all sweaty and wet now. And it's, you know, 4 p.m. and the wind's blowing. So I found that kind of helpful, even though it made me sweatier. At least I wasn't cold. So yeah, I guess it's just kind of pack for whatever conditions you might think be possible, and then, you know, have everything organized is what I found was helpful for crewing myself. I had to have everything pretty organized. So I wanted to ask Rebecca, I know that you've done, so you said you have completed a couple 100-milers and you're training for this 200-miler. When is that going to be?
It's in April. It's like the second weekend in April.
Okay. So it's coming up pretty soon then.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Yep.
Okay.
The last big month of training.
And where is that going to be?
It's the Potawatomi Trails 200. It's in kind of like central Illinois, like it's what is it called? Pekin, Illinois, near Peoria.
Oh.
So, yeah, it's 20 10-mile loops around McNaughton Park.
Okay.
So it's a real mental challenge. That's what got to me back in 2019. Just you kind of, you know, set up your tent and your site, and you have to come through it 20 times, and you have to leave it 20 times. And,
oh gosh. Are you going to cruise out?
Mostly yes. Like I mostly crewed myself in 2019. My husband kind of came and went and brought me extra food, but I find I like being reliant on myself and not worrying about somebody else. As whenever he was there trying to help, I'd be worried about, like, you know, what he was doing. If he was uncomfortable, it's cold out there and raining half the time. So
Okay.
I just like to worry about myself.
Yeah.
I know exactly what I need.
You'll have to keep us updated on how that goes.
Yep, absolutely.
That's crazy. See, and I still can't imagine, like, how does somebody run 200 miles? I don't know. And Andrew, you just ran the Rocky Raccoon. We're in Texas, right?
Yeah.
You just did you got 100 miles there, right?
Correct. Yeah, we got it there.
How did that go? Was Ode a training run for that?
Yes, I would say so. So it goes back to, I guess, 2020, and like I mentioned earlier, watching what Sarah accomplished and thinking, you know, maybe what could I do as well, right? So we did a lot of these virtual races. She did the virtual backyard, and then we did the GB Wrap together, which is, you know, out and back in Tennessee. Well, the out in Tennessee is 35 miles a week, but if you go out and back, which we decided to do, it's a 70-mile week. So that really prepped us for doing high mileage weeks back to back. So we did it for 4 months, and that really kind of elevated, you know, or changed our mindset in what we thought was possible or what we thought we could do. So watching her and her successes, I thought, why not? I didn't think I would be able to match her speed for sure. I know she's much quicker than me, but what can I do myself? How fast can I go? So my whole thought in Rocky is that I want to do a sub 20 hour 100 miler. So I went out there looking. Sub 20 is what I was looking for.
Okay.
My previous one, I did a 2052 in Canal Corridor, which was just flat. There was nothing. It was just a rail trail. And so I thought, maybe, a little more train, maybe I can go out and do a sub 20. And I wasn't prepared for Rocky. It was more like around here is Island Lake, right? Island Lake, it's a roller like that, but it's way more. In the first mile, I went down and rolled out like I did a judo roll out. There was a lot of rocks, a lot of roots, and it was very technical. So I went out fast, way too fast. The first 3 loops, I was doing a 9-10 minute mile. And then what I saw happen to Sarah in Desert Solstice, when she was doing the track loops, she got to a point where she just could not move. She was going around. I'm like looking at her. I'm like, just run. Why aren't you running? You're just not moving anymore. And I didn't understand that you get to a point where your muscles are so fatigued, are going at that kind of pace. My quads were so destroyed that I couldn't move my legs anymore. And I always thought, I'd never pushed myself to any kind of limit before to see what I could do. And this time I did. I really went out as hard as I could. And I crashed hard. And even though I was pushing as hard as I could the first 3 laps, Sarah was not far behind me. She wasn't trying at all. And she was a mile or 2 behind me. At mile 70, I graciously waited for her, thinking she's struggling. She came in blazing, looking strong. I guilted her to stay with me the rest of the way. She dragged my butt through the rest of the run and got me home. So I still did an okay time. It wasn't what I was looking for, but it really humbled me.
Yeah.
I know I could have been a lot faster if I'd been more conservative. And I think when you look at the backyard race and everything I've seen from what she's able to do, going out slower, it's more about conserving energy than it is about, making miles.
Yeah.
If I had gone out more conservative at a 10-30 mile pace, I'm pretty sure that I would have been able to do a better time. The fact that I went out so much quicker, it just destroyed myself. So next time, I'll bear that in mind.
Yeah. Well, but you did it, so that's awesome.
Yeah, no, I'm like that time is. I'm really happy with it. I'm not looking to be any kind of elite. I'm still getting lapped by elites at the end of the day. Like on the last loop, they were coming in at 14, 15 hours.
Wow.
So I'm not looking to win any races. I'm just trying to see what I can do for myself and, how far I can push myself. So.
Okay. Now, Justin, I know Tad shared with me that you won the Dances with Dirt 50K in 2018 in Gnawbone, right?
Yeah. So I had done the Baldy marathons, which are like the California alpine version of Barkley, if people have heard of them. So I had done that a few weeks before and didn't make it as far as I had hoped. It's a 20-mile lap with 10,000 feet of vertical in it. So I did one official and then like another 1.5 over the next day.
So you said 10,000 gain in 10 miles?
In a 20-mile lap.
That's pretty heavy.
yeah, and it's almost all off trail. So that was intense, but I'd spent a whole lot of time on a treadmill, putting in like 9 miles, 13 miles, 15 miles, basically however many hours I had on a weekend at just the max grade in the gym of whatever, 15%. And yeah, you get pretty amazing fitness out of doing that. And so I felt like I hadn't really tapped all of that at Baldy, and got a nice little taper before Gnawbone. So yeah,
Okay.
that was that was cool, but definitely based on some obsessive months of training, and that was when I was still hoping I could get into Barkley.
Okay.
So
Well, still, kudos on that. Because what did you think? I mean, as far as the race courses compare, how does the Ode course compare to that Gnawbone course? Because your time, let's see, you were just about 40 minutes longer in your time for that than when you did the 8 Hours of Ode. But that was, it was longer. You went farther distance, but was the course similar?
Maybe a touch hillier in Indiana.
Hillier.
Yeah, it's hard to put it in perspective. I think you gain so much from taking breaks every lap in the speed that you can move at. So there's no way I would have added at least an hour, I think, if I was doing that continuously.
Okay.
At Ode.
All right. I don't know if we covered, let's see. We talked about your training. Was there any struggle for you guys during this 8 Hours of Ode? Did anybody struggle with making the 8 laps or the continuous laps that you guys did? Or was this a pretty easy run for you guys? I'm just curious because I struggle, but Jeremy, you laughed. Was it easy for you?
I struggled too, yeah. Especially in the air. I think the last 2 loops, I was starting to get tired. Unfortunately, also like starting to feel something a little weird in my knee. So I kind of like took it easy on the last 2 loops. But yes, starting to cramp also a little bit. So for me, the 8 hours was a good time to end it there.
I was surprised. I mean, I should know this. Obviously, if you're running and you're sweating, you need to hydrate, right? But in the winter, you feel like you don't need to hydrate that much. You don't get as thirsty as you do in the summer when it's so hot and dry and everything. And I ended up getting cramp too in my thigh. I think it was like on the beginning of lap 6, and I was like, oh God, I stepped up like to step up a route, and I was like, oh no, and it ended up going away, thank God. But I realized like, oh, I guess I probably haven't been drinking enough, and then I ended up taking a salt tablet too, and that really helped. But I think a lot of times we forget, when it's cold out, that you still need to hydrate because you're still exercising. So I guess that's a tip if someone's new to the winter event, that don't forget to hydrate, probably, equal to, or, at least for when you're running in the summer, because you will still be sweating and you will be dehydrated.
I think, yeah, a 50K in the snow, in the cold, is still no joke. And you were looking amazing all day, by the way, Libby. You were crushing it. I was super impressed, and you did really well. But yeah, like you said, you cannot underestimate nutrition, cold or not. If you don't have the right nutrition, you're not going to complete. And that goes for the 8 hours, the 12 hours, or however long you're going to go. You have to have the right food in you. You'll end your day real fast.
Yeah.
Rebecca,
go ahead, Christina.
I'm notorious for when it gets cold, I don't take the time to eat and drink. And this was the first time that I labeled, this is what I drink at after lap 1, after lap 2, and I stuck to it even if I didn't want to. And so I was fine. I mean, we've all had plenty of races where we have bathroom issues or stomach issues or cramping. And I just think it helps so much if you just stick to the plan. We all know what the plan is. of what we need, you know. In July, I really struggled with cramps. I mean, it was very hot that day, but I do think the course can just really destroy you physically though too. And then with like the cramping in the calves, it's a lot of calf work, a lot of quad work. And once you start cramping, it's really hard to recover from that.
Yeah.
Let's make no mistake that the Ode is one of the hardest backyard courses for sure. So it's harder than Biggs, in my opinion, especially with the backside that you got that canter, you know, you're constantly working. So you need to have every advantage, and if that's food as well and sticking to the plan, like Christina said, you need to do that.
Yeah. So for those of you guys who haven't run in the summer, Jeremy, you haven't run, you only ran that one loop, or no, that was Justin who said he ran.
That was
a loop. Yeah. So are you guys gonna you're gonna run it in the summer?
I'm interested. It's a hard time with race calendars. That was the reason I didn't get to run it the first time, was I had a 100-miler the next week.
Oh, okay. Well, you can use it as a training run.
100-miler?
Yeah.
No, not the 100-miler. I meant use it as a training run for the 100-miler. You know, how about you, Jeremy?
Yes, I will try to make it. I'm interested to do it also in the summer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like a proper backyard style this time, right, Jeremy?
I think so. Yes. Yeah.
You have to for the summer, right? There's no continuous option.
There's no continuous anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, you know, like from what I've seen this year, the backyard has become, it seems as if this is becoming the de facto ultra running event on the calendar.
It's trendy.
It is trendy for sure.
Backyard is becoming trendy. I don't know how I feel about that, but it is.
I mean, it's the gender equalizer, right? That you go into it, you don't know. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. You don't know if you can win this thing. I remember the first year seeing these guys come in. They looked so strong. There's one guy with the cowboy hat. I don't know his name. I thought he was going to win. He just looked amazing all day long, and then he just dropped. I don't know.
Yeah, and I had thoughts about certain people too in the first year I did it, and then I was amazed that they dropped when they did. So yeah, you never know.
Don't be that guy, Jeremy. You gotta don't drop. Time out.
All right.
Sarah has to have a contender here, and that's what these interviews are all about. No, I'm just kidding. Great you. Don't tell her I said that. I think
Sarah is looking for, you know, she doesn't care if she wins or not. That's the great thing about her, is that she just doesn't care if she wins. She can push as far as she possibly can, make the Ode a great race. I think if you're going, as Laz says, if you're going beyond 40 hours, he's going to look at you. If you're like a runner-up, you're on his radar. You know, I would be so happy if Ode pushes past 50 hours. I think it would be incredible for Ode, and I think it would be incredible for the backyard in general. You know, and you know, you're in a very elite crowd if you can do that.
That's Justin. That's how you get to meet Laz.
Oh, that's Rebecca's 200. 50 hours.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So I told you I was going to try to keep it a little bit timely. I think we're at that point. I just want to say thanks again for, you know, I know this is hard to coordinate with so many people to get the right day and time. So thanks again for being flexible and for joining me. We'll have to razz Mike Fisher for forgetting all about us and then make fun of him that Andrew broke his record. So
small victories.
Not here, right? But yeah, so I just wanted to thank you guys, and keep an eye out for those watching for some more interviews to come. We actually have some new record holders that that developed after this year's run, and we have some young people who are getting into ultra running that have come to Ode to Laz and have shown up, have done really well. So I just want to give a shout out to Mackenzie Bucky. I hope I'm saying her last name right. She's a record holder for women for the fastest cumulative 8 laps. So she had a 6 hour, 7 minute and change lap this year. And she's a youngin'. I want to say she's under 20 years old.
She's like 17 or 18, and her first lap, she went 2 miles out of her way. Incredible.
Yeah. Yes. So she's quick, and I think she'll be back. So we may see her in the summer, just a heads up. And then Matt Antoneau, who we've mentioned already.
We don't need to mention him.
Well, I he came really close to breaking Justin's title. So he had a total on foot time of 5 hours, 52 minutes. And Justin, I'm going to go back and say yours again. Hang on.
42, 41?
Yeah, 5 hours, 40. So you guys were close. So you may have a contender for your title. Next year, you're going to have to come back and make sure he doesn't beat you, okay? Because we don't want to.
Or more power to Matt.
I just want to remind everybody watching, too, that Ode to the Night, which is the 12-hour Ode to 12 Hours of Ode, occurs on May 15th. And that is on the night course. So that's the road loop, and it occurs at nighttime. So you guys can practice. There's also a 10K and a 1 loop option the following morning if you guys just want to come out and take a peek at the trail or cheer on your friends and stuff. So so thanks again, and to everyone, good luck with your next events, and please keep us updated on how everything goes. And hopefully we can see each other at the next event. All right.
Thanks,
Bye,
all.
thanks.
This was fun.
Okay.
All right. Cheers.
Nice meeting you all. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah. I don't know how to close it.